Need to get away? Planning a trip. It's good to escape from all your troubles every once in a while. But no matter where you go, one trouble you can't escape, well, it's the danger of being hacked, scammed, or tracked. Whether you're in an airport, the airplane, restaurant, hotel, or maybe even out in the bush country, if you're online, your personal information is just ripe for the pickings. And get this, even a toy can be hacked. A game can be hacked. A child can hack into your device. There are child prodigies who are famous hackers. They're so smart. I don't even think they're from this planet. Some of them speak at these technology conferences. I guess you'd say it's the new rebellion. And once you leave the United States, I'm telling you, it's a whole new ball game. Other countries just aren't set up for security the way that we are here. But the biggest threat to your security, I know you're not going to like the answer. Well, I have to tell you, it's actually you. How much you know, how prepared you actually are. So if you plan on traveling anywhere, listen up. I'm going to take you on an anti-hacking vacation as we book your flight, as we fly, as we check into the hotel, as we see the sights, and then come back home with all your personal data and safety intact. So you don't want to miss a moment. But first, a special thank you to our partners in this podcast because they help make this podcast possible. Okay, you ready to get started? Let's start by booking your trip. Hack-free travel begins with hack-free booking, of course. Believe it or not, there are actually fake travel sites out there promising you rock-bottom prices on flights, when in reality, they're privately owned websites ready to just suck down your personal information and use it however and whenever they can. Now, the most common scammers are the travel club membership or excursion sites. They use travel photos, which they've lifted off the internet, and then they create this fake travel agency. You, the tourist, you pony up the cash for a well-deserved vacation, you get ready to go, only to find out that your credit card has been charged, but the company is shut down. They may even take out a bunch of Google AdWords or Facebook ads and get travelers to just pay on the spot. But unfortunately, the story's always the same. A month or so later, they close up shop, the website's gone, and, well, you're out of luck. The latest website templates are really professional looking. It's hard to tell a real business from a fake one. So even in the midst of your excitement about a deal that's too good to be true, go with travel sites that you know and travel sites that you trust. And remember to follow the rules from my online banking podcast that we did just a few weeks ago. Make sure that the URL of the website is secure. There should be an HTTPS right at the top. Cyber criminals can create a spoof of a site, one that looks exactly like your old favorite one. For example, instead of, JamaicaAirlines.com, a faker might set up Jamaica.airtravel.com or something like that. Major airlines are always being mimicked, so think twice and examine before you click, especially when you get an email from your so-called favorite airline. It may in fact be a phishing scam from a faker luring you in for your login, your username, your credit card, and other personal information. Another thing when booking, it's easy to get overwhelmed by the itinerary. I know sometimes I do. There are the red-eye flights, the limo, the shuttle drivers, specific hotels. All that stuff can get away from you pretty easily. Top it off with being jet-lagged and tired in a foreign country, not speaking the language. Gets crazy. Well, that's where you're going to love me for this. Listen up. TripCase. TripCase helps you assemble your itinerary ahead of time so you know exactly where you're going and what you need to accomplish when you get there. It's really super easy to use. The app itemizes all your flights, your lodging, car rental information, activities, and then there are other safety-related categories. In case you're looking for a link to TripCase, just hit commando.com, and then in the search box, just type in TripCase. One word, by the way. Okay, so you're booked. Let's get packing. Before you leave, make sure you've updated all the software, all the apps on all your devices. I'm talking about your operating systems, the web browsers, and your internet security software. Okay, here's the reason why. Apps and software companies stay on top of the latest security threats and problems. The problems are like these little digital leaks that develop from various avenues. So they issue so-called patches to repair those problems. Some of them might be small, Many of them are large. But if you're traveling and you don't have the latest protection, let me tell you something. You're just fair game for a cyber predator. Secure everything with passwords that are strong. I just went over this with my online banking podcast, and there are some definitely do's and don'ts for setting passwords, and I don't want to go through them again. Just make sure that you follow them. Try not to just change up your current passwords. I want you to really, really change them. Avoid using phrases. And I hate to disappoint you, but Star Wars, let me in, I love you, football, admin, welcome. Oh, there's monkey and dragon, ABC, 1, 2, 3. And finally, yes, the super secret password of whatever, they are among the top 20 most used passwords. That means millions and millions and millions of people are using I love you as a password, and hackers know this too. So if you need a super secure password, maybe it should be something like this. I love the Kim Commando Show. With a capital I, maybe a 0 for love, something really true and easy to remember like that. I know, that was just shameless. Okay, we're about ready to head out the door. Hopefully you haven't posted to your zillions of social media friends that, hey, we're out of town. I'm super excited. I know you've seen them. I'm talking about posts of people who say they're feeling excited at the airport. And these pictures of you in Fiji with that cutie patootie tour guide. All right, it's fun, it's cool to share, but just remember that you're gone. And most of your stuff, it's still at home. And when you share where you are located, everybody knows it. So you're almost ready to go. You're trying to decide which money card to take. Whichever you decide, take only those that you need. It's not a good idea to carry your entire financial booty with you when you travel. A more secure option might be to use, say, payment apps such as Apple Pay, Google Pay, or Samsung Pay instead of your actual credit card. When you buy something, your credit card number is never transmitted that way. It's actually a randomly generated token that authenticates the transaction. And that information is useless to a hacker. Okay, you ready? Let's head out to the airport. Airports are a great place to people watch. And you want to be careful who you share information with as you start talking to everybody. I did a podcast called Hacker Psychology. If you haven't listened to that one, you might want to just bookmark it and go to it. I tell a crazy story what happens to be a friendly young couple on their honeymoon. Unbelievable stuff. Again, that podcast is called Hacker Psychology. These people that you meet, they're just eager to chat. But in reality, they're fishing for personal information. So keep your conversations with strangers right on the surface. I'm talking about no last names, no texting photos. Don't friend them on Facebook, for gosh sake, until you get home. It's sad, but you want to be safe. Oh, look, there's a coffee stand. Totally need that. Let's go get some coffee. Wow, it's crowded. Good thing I've got my wallet in my front pocket. But pickpockets don't actually have to pick your pockets anymore. They can grab your credit card information through what's called RFID. Radio Frequency Identification. That's what it stands for. Here's how it works. Hackers can hold a small black scanner near your back pocket or purse, and pretty soon, he's lifted your credit card number and expiration date. Cards with an RFID sensor chip are vulnerable to this type of attack too. But there's a good side to RFID. It actually has revolutionized large production business by using radio signals to ID things faster. So keeping track of things like cattle and warehouse stock, it's total breeze. It's the same tech that they use on toll roads. The problem is you can't turn it off. So anyone with a reader can invisibly grab the data. If you're traveling around and you're worried about RFID, hit shop.commando.com. We've got all kinds of cases and wallets for your passports and for your credit cards over at shop.commando.com. Just search for RFID in the box. If you live here in the United States, your credit card probably has an EMV chip. EMV chips require contact with the scanner, and that's probably the one that you have. But once you travel to other countries, the percentage of contactless cards, it's much higher. Of course, there's always Apple Pay, Google Pay, and Samsung Pay. Remember that when you buy something, your credit card number is not involved. It's a randomly generated token that's totally worthless to a hacker. And this, well, it's not bad for airport coffee. Okay, we're still early for our flight. We don't board for at least another hour. So let's kill some time on the internet. Okay, folks, you would never walk into a bad neighborhood without being on your guard. And public Wi-Fi is, in fact, that bad neighborhood. When you're traveling, it can be very tempting to use free Wi-Fi and avoid roaming charges, especially when you're overseas. But here's the deal, and you're not going to like it. Don't do it. Even the hotspot itself could be a fake one set up by cyber criminals. It's super easy to do, and once you log on, everything you store, everything you do on your computer, your phone, your tablet, it's visible, it's accessible. Now, some airport environments are more susceptible to hacks than others. That's according to the cybersecurity company Coronet. They did a study of more than 250,000 consumer and corporate endpoints over a 5-month span. They analyzed the data, which included anti-malware, firewalls, apps, password protections, and disk storage encryption. They scanned both connected and nearby Wi-Fi signals and totaled up the risk score. And guess what they found? 45 of the United States' busiest airports are likely to be problematic. All right, so what exactly is problematic? That means it poses a significant cyber threat to you, the traveler. And the top 6 were San Diego International, John Wayne Airport, that's in Orange County, William P. Hobby in Houston, Texas, Fort Myers Southwest, Florida, Newark Liberty Airport, Dallas's Love Field, and hey, my hometown, yes, another honor for Arizona. You ready for it? Phoenix Sky Harbor. I'll have to talk to them about that. According to the study, the likelihood of you connecting to a medium or high-risk network in these airports is between 10 and 30%. My gosh, that's too high for my comfort. And hackers aren't the only ones watching you as you travel. Both our government and your internet service provider can also monitor your connection. Need a second opinion? Bruce Chenier is an internationally renowned security technologist, absolutely one of the top authorities on the subject. The Economist calls him a security guru. He's the author of 13 books, including Data and Goliath, The Hidden Battles to Collect Your Data and Control Your World.
You know, right now we're living in a society of pervasive surveillance. Everything we do involves computers, and computers naturally produce data about what they're doing. I mean, think about your cell phone. It's an incredibly invasive surveillance device. It knows where you are all the time. It knows when you wake up. It knows when you go to sleep. Everyone has a cell phone, so it knows who you sleep with. It knows who you're talking to, what you're saying. And this isn't a device we think of as a surveillance device, right? We think of it as a telephone. And a lot of that surveillance is necessary to make the phone work. The phone has to know where you are, otherwise it can't ring. Right? Google Maps can't give you directions unless it knows where you are. It has to know what you're saying, who you're talking to, or the phone calls don't work.
So if you're a fugitive, or if you're not a fan of being followed, which is not many people, there are ways you can keep these parties out of your business. Listen up. One of them is to use a VPN, short for Virtual Private Network. Essentially, a VPN hides or marks your location and then scrambles the data sent to and from your device. Now, to start out with, you need to choose a VPN program or service to use. There are dozens out there that offer a mix of security features, privacy options, server locations, other considerations. It's important that you use US-based servers. You also need to find out how much bandwidth you can use. That's important if you'll be traveling for a while. When you sign up for a VPN, choose one that doesn't keep logs of your activity. Find that requires a bare minimum of personal information because you want to leave as little cookie crumbs as possible so the wolves don't follow you. A good VPN option is Freedom VPN. If you want to learn more about it, hit commando.com. They're actually a sponsor of some of these podcasts, and I really like their product. It's Freedom VPN. You can choose your location. It promises to block viruses and phishing attempts before they get to your device. But if you can't use a VPN, using the data connection on your phone is a lot safer than your laptop or free Wi-Fi because it's not publicly visible and therefore less accessible to hackers. But before you do log on, remember you have some other things to do. This is super important, and don't blow me off on this. You want to turn off your phone sharing and turn on a firewall.
Good afternoon. This is your captain speaking with just a little...
Okay, we're on the plane, 30,000 feet at least in the air. Aside from the passengers on board, no one else can hack us, right? Okay, wrong. According to Newsweek, security researcher Ruben Santamarta, an expert at cybersecurity company IOActive, will show attendees at the 2018 Black Hat Hacker Conference how entire fleets of airplanes were left accessible from an internet standpoint, leaving hundreds of in-flight craft totally at risk. His talk is called Last Call for Satcom Security. He claims he can demonstrate exactly how a plane's Wi-Fi network can be tampered with from the land below. He says that security weaknesses in satellite communication, shortened up for SATCOM tech, have exposed some of the largest airlines in the U.S. and Europe to hackers. Adversaries can exploit and use this information to reveal our NATO bases in conflict zones. All right, so I know you're sitting there thinking, so Kim, what does that have to do with me and my online game of solitaire or Candy Crush? All right, maybe nothing, but Santamarta warns us that he can demonstrate that it's possible to hack into a communication device on an in-flight aircraft from the ground. That's the important part, including all the important communications devices within the aircraft. All right, so my advice, same rules apply whether you're on the ground, in the air, or I guess even on a deserted island. If you got a signal, you can be seen. All right, so here we are at last. Yes, some rest at the hotel. Some hotels offer a mobile check-in and a digital room key. It's pretty tempting because you just spent umpteen hours in the airport and on an airplane. I mean, who wouldn't want to just go log into a mobile app, bypass the front desk, and head straight for the hotel room? It's so easy. When your phone touches the lock on the door, your room door opens with the mobile key. So mobile keys are really convenient, but guess what? It's also new technology and not without vulnerabilities. In fact, the security level of the mobile key depends entirely on what steps the hotel took to totally protect their electronic key system. So you have to listen to this. The FBI says that while they haven't seen compromised hotel mobile key systems in the United States yet, they have seen their share of hotel hacks. A hotel in Austria made the news after hackers broke into its electronic key system. The hotel staff was locked out of the computer system, and get this, management was unable to access the reservation system. New guests couldn't use their card-based room keys. The receptionist couldn't create new keys for them. Talk about a nightmare. Let's just say, I'm glad I wasn't there. But now we're in our room, ready to check our email. So in case you haven't figured out, the same public Wi-Fi rules apply when using free Wi-Fi in hotels. So let's just say you're not at a swanky hotel in the Bahamas. Let's say you're at a youth hostel somewhere in the bush country. In other words, you have no idea where the nearest Wi-Fi signal is located. All right, there's a cool app that will locate all the free Wi-Fi, pay-to-use Wi-Fi spots near you. You can always have a backup plan ready. It's called Wi-Fi Map, and with it, you can search through networks all around you and the best free and secure connections out there, too. So you're never without your favorite apps. Facebook, I know you're on it. Instagram and Twitter. Wi-Fi Map has a map of more than 100 million free Wi-Fi hotspots everywhere. That's right, more than 100 million. So whether you're in Newfoundland or New Jersey, use the Wi-Fi Map app to find those nearby Wi-Fi access points. Wi-Fi Maps app will tell you the location and the distance of the hotspot, what kind of network the hotspot is, how reliable the connection is. It'll even give you peer reviews about the hotspot you want to connect to. And with this hotspot information for just about every major city in the world, Wi-Fi Map is a great app to have in a pinch whenever you're traveling. So make sure that you have it on your phone or tablet or laptop before you leave. And of course, you'll find a link to it on my website over at commando.com. Okay, time to shut it all down. Oh, gosh, finally relax. Alone in the privacy of your own hotel room. I know, you're sitting there, I'm going to fire up Netflix and watch, I don't know, Orange is the New Black. I actually watch that one. Everyone in my family thinks I'm crazy. Are you really alone? How would you feel if you found out someone was in the room with you without your knowledge? If you think you're the only one in your hotel room, think again. Technology could be invading your hotel room in a bad way. I'm talking about cameras, teeny tiny ones that record your every move. The sad fact is you don't always know if someone's watching you, especially if you're on vacation, in a hotel, a cruise ship, maybe even an Airbnb. maybe even a cabin in the middle of the woods. You may not be alone. More and more vacationers are discovering hidden cameras, and you wouldn't believe all the places that they're being concealed in. Today's camera camouflage is amazing. It's nearly impossible to spot them. Usually, the hotel will place them inconspicuously in the rooms as security measures. If this concerns you, take a listen to my podcast about hidden cameras. In it, I cover your privacy rights, how to locate the cameras, how to disable one if you find it, and oh, by the way, sweet dreams. Oh, it's a new day. I'm totally excited. Time to have some fun. Grab your phone and get ready to download these totally cool travel apps that will help you have an unforgettable time. First up, Dark Sky. All right, it's not your typical weather app. It specializes in hyper-local weather. This is really helpful in mountainous regions, obscure small towns, or places with wild weather. You can use this app to find out what the weather is going to be at your destination. Of course, you can see when it might rain, but you'll also know when that rain will likely stop. That's the secret sauce right there. Guess what? You don't have to ride a silly-looking bus to take a guided tour. Here's another app you're going to want. Detour provides detailed guided walking tours from knowledgeable locals. I've used them. Great stuff. These audio tours have a lot of personality, and you can listen to them whenever you want. Podcast listeners love this app too because you totally listen on the go. All right, if you hate looking like a tourist, you're going to love Like a Local. It's a crowdsourced app, which means it gets a lot of insider advice. You can look up things like tips and tours, sites, restaurants, activities, things like that. Think of it as a mashup of Lonely Planet and couch surfing. Not only can you learn the local lingo and information, you can also arrange to meet up with some friendly locals. Personal profiles will show you their availability, what they're interested in, and reviews. If you're really into photography, Ephemeris is a very powerful tool. Check out what it does. Photographers, Ephemeris helps you figure out the perfect lighting. The app actually traces the direction and intensity of natural light, and then advises you on the angle of your camera. This is really sophisticated technology, and it's really fun to tinker with. So when you're capturing moments that you want to remember for a lifetime, hey, you might as well have them look spectacular. And who knows? It just might inspire others to see the world too. Hey, did you hear that rumble? That's my stomach. When I'm traveling, I love to eat. Well, I shouldn't just say when I'm traveling. I love to eat all the time. And sometimes we have a hankering to try food that we see on TV. You know, the cooking channels, the travel shows. It all looks so good. So there's an app called TV Food Maps. It tells you which nearby restaurants have been featured on TV shows. You'd be amazed at how many restaurants across the country have been on TV in one way or another. From diners, drive-ins, and dives to the fanciest fare. When you're on the road, you can try them all. All right, how are you going to pay for all that food? You said it was your treat, right? Well, in order to pay like a pro, you need to know the value of whatever's in your wallet. Whether it's rupees, rubles, fat, or kip, knowing the value of foreign moolah requires some high math. In fact, a lot of travelers get scammed because they just have no idea what their currency is worth. I got your back. It's XE Currency to the rescue. This app is available for almost any mobile device. It gives you up-to-the-minute rates on current exchange, no matter what kind of cash you're carrying. The XE Corporation has been helping folks figure out currency exchange rates since the 90s. They can quickly convert values between any two monetary systems on the planet. Oh, and thanks for buying, by the way. Okay, that was kind of a short trip, but we had fun, didn't we? Took some awesome pictures. We didn't get hacked. Now, if you're worried about passing customs with all those trinkets that you purchased, here's a solution. My favorite app of all, Mobile Passport, lets you easily transmit all your passport information to U.S. Customs and Immigration. Simply set up your profile, answer a few questions, and submit your data to Customs and Border Protection. Once you arrive at your destination, there should be physical signage that leads you to the Mobile Passport Control. You'll be through the line in minutes, and everybody else will be giving you dirty looks. Now, if your flight is delayed, the Air Help app is here to help. It's really useful if you travel all the time or if you're trying to move around during a travel rush. This app, Air Help, will inform you of your rights as a passenger. You can also file a claim for delayed or canceled flights. Not that that ever happens. And then compensate you for up to $700. Before you leave for your trip, put this app on your phone just in case you need it. It's like having a travel advisor right there with you.
Good afternoon.
When the
this is
captain
your
points
captain.
out a landmark, you usually only have a minute or two to try to find it with your naked eye before it's just whisked away forever. This is a great app for that. Inflighto. Inflighto can improve your in-flight sightseeing by not only pinpointing where you're located on a digital map, but also identifying geographic highlights. See, here's the deal. It was put together by a bunch of pilots. So you know like how the pilot says, people on the right-hand side, you can totally see the Grand Canyon, and they all like to make the same joke. People on the left-hand side can see the people on the right-hand side looking at the Grand Canyon. All right, that's kind of what it does. It's a lot like a flight tracker, but with a lot of data. And if you love data, this is the app for you. The Eagle has landed, and now you're thinking, did my luggage make it? You may want to think about downloading a luggage tracker. Delta, JetBlue, American, Unisys, they all have luggage tracking apps. There are many to choose from. Even Louis Vuitton makes one. Some of them are RFID chipped. You remember RFID. It's hackable, so if you go with one of these apps, do your research, choose wisely. Okay, are you feeling tech safe? I hope it wasn't overwhelming for you. But I know if you do all this, you will save time, money, and a lot of hassles. Hey, listen, if you like this podcast, let me know. I love hearing from you guys and gals out there. Tell me about your trip. And hey, while you're here, why not download a few more of my podcasts? Or better yet, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, whether it's iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, the list goes on and on. I'm Kim Commando, and thanks for joining me on this great Commando On Demand podcast. And we'll meet again, floating down the big data stream or on that information superhighway. And if you see me on an escalator in an airport, give me a nod.